Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Post Credits Podcast, a show where we are lucky enough to talk about movies with you. This is episode 36.
What the hell was that?
What? Thank you. Recorded on June 29th,
God.
2025, to get posted on podcast services on Tuesday, July 1st, 2025, to the usual spots: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, and YouTube. If you're listening to us on an audio-only version, feel free to wander over to YouTube. Check us out there as well. You can watch full episodes or segments we have clipped out for you. We try to snip out some interesting stuff, however you choose to enjoy us. Thank you very much. Truly.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
From the bottom of our hearts. Thank you very much. I don't know if I just pointed to my heart, but it's, anyway. Thank you. On this episode, we're going to ramble for a minute or two. Then we're going to talk about some box office. Then we have a movie recommendation from the rogue Chris. Then we're going to talk about Brad Pitt. Handsome son of a gun, Brad Pitt.
He really let himself go for his performance.
And then F1, the movie of the week. Gentlemen, I am one of your hosts, Grayson Maxwell. Joining me as I do is my co-host, Roger Stillion, and the lovely Chris Bonnet. Chris, you've lost some loveliness this week because you look a little more unkempt than you did last week. I will admit.
Well, last week I had a white shirt on and I had sweaty hair, so I'm slightly hungover, Chris. So
Someone said you look Grady, and I don't know what that means.
Oh yeah. Someone
in our comments said guy in white shirt looks Grady. I don't have any idea what that means.
I don't think that's what it said or what it meant, but it doesn't matter.
Some bone apple tea on there was
somebody. I mean, it's probably some younger kid lingo or some crap that I don't understand in my advanced years. I definitely know Grayson doesn't get it, so.
I don't. Well, I mean, just Grody or something. I don't know. No, probably not a good idea not to do that. Actually,
I'm going to do it right now.
No. So anyway,
what does it mean
to be Grody? Anyway, gentlemen, how are we this week? What is going on? How hot are you guys down there?
It's balmy here still. So other than that, not too bad. Not too bad.
Doesn't mean anything.
I did some. I mean, that makes even more sense. I did some Disney trivia today. That was a thing. So
did you win?
No, we came in last.
Who's we?
Me, my wife, my two children, their aunt. So, yeah,
so good. Your family was stomped into oblivion. Good. That's good.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but yeah, we definitely did not do the best. So
who did you compete against? Who was
other families from the area that we know? So yeah, it was fun. It was a time.
Were you surprised by some of the questions? I'm just curious, what the questions were.
So, I mean, all the questions were fine. The first section of questions was about the Disney parks, the Disney theme parks, and we've never been there, so we have no idea. So that's a little different. The movie stuff we did fine on. It's just quotes from certain characters.
From 1937 Cinderella.
Yeah.
What was said during this line?
I mean,
please shut up.
It's kind of like that, but. Well, yeah, it was a good time. It was fun. I got a little day drunk, so here I am.
Yes, good.
Recovering. So
yes.
One of the questions on a scale of 1 to 10, how awesome is Song of the South?
Oh, God, what?
Indeterminate.
Error. Well, it's a movie they're trying to scrub from existence, and I
have that on. Digital, by the way.
Oh, yeah, digital.
Do you want it? I should just put it on our YouTube channel until Disney
just blind post it. Yeah,
just shuts us down,
or we just get billions of views overnight. One of the two,
and then Disney will have us shut down.
Yep.
It's kind of all the same. Either way, it ends poorly for us, but it might be an epic way to burn out.
Could be,
indeed. What about you, Roger? What's going on in your life this week?
I mean, it's 4th of July coming up, so that's kind of cool.
Yep.
And working in my current job, I was told not to schedule anything past noon on Thursday.
Perfect.
For the 4th of July weekend. So that's kind of rad to have a job that just is nobody works through Thursday afternoon until Monday. And so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
My job is doing some flood relief stuff for our area next Thursday, though. So that's what I'll be doing up until that time. So That's not bad.
Cool.
I get a Jaunty t-shirt branded with my company logo on it, so that's always great to have.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas? Is that what?
JTT?
Yes.
That's what I thought you said. JTT, Home Improvement. Okay.
Yes, that's what the...
Well, you said John TT. I don't know. My mind went to JTT.
He said Jaunty T.
I said a Jaunty t-shirt.
Why did I think of Jonathan Taylor Thomas? Yeah. Anyway, go
What's
on, please.
wrong with you? I don't want to go on anymore. You've railroaded everything. Talking about Jonathan Taylor Thomas. What's he doing nowadays?
Is he
Anybody
in
know?
prison? Oh no, Zachary Ty Bryan's in prison.
He's the
Or
one in
was.
prison.
Yeah.
I don't know what JTT's doing.
He likes to do drugs and fight women, so like that's not a great combination for anybody.
Probably in that order too.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, let's start
I
talking
can
about
see it the other way around though.
Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Mm.
don't do that. Don't be that guy.
That's the curse of the '90s child stars. Like, none of them adapted well, or not. Or I shouldn't say none. Very few of them adapted well. The large majority that did not.
I think JTT probably adapted the best. He like said, "I'm done with this."
He just took his millions and fucked off into nowhere.
He's like, "All right, cool. This is fun."
what do you think Urkel's doing now?
They just started a Family Matters reboot.
What?
Did they really? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't even realize.
That or it's AI, and I've been spoofed either way.
Here's the thing. I want to, and I mean this without any form of joke. I would not be surprised 100% either way if they were absolutely redoing a Family Matters reboot, or somebody's like making AI do it.
Mm-hmm.
People will just watch the trailer over and over again.
They will.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
those damn trailers that trick me every week. I'm like, oh, what is this cool thing with Russell Crowe and
Grayson loves to get sucked into like
Grayson Maxwell, the most gullible man that uses the
internet. I am, because I
place for you, my friend.
I want, because I like a few weeks ago, like 6 weeks ago, right when I was kind of in the middle of my wheeling for that pilot, I saw something for the Narnia, and like it had all these stars, and then like I was like, I've seen that clip before. Son of a bitch! It got me. But I believed it for like the first 40 seconds. Timothy Chalamet, Russell Crowe, a lot of other people. I was like, son of a gun. That's not.
You guys want to talk about real movie stuff for a second?
No.
Sure.
What I think you do, Grayson. You
I
should.
I do.
How about Denis Villeneuve doing the next James Bond, huh?
That's pretty wet. That's pretty rad, actually. I'm so excited for that. Yeah.
I don't know whether to be extraordinarily happy or slightly frightened.
Wait, why would you? I see that as the same kind of Sam Mendes. Sam Mendes in the same kind of place I put Denis Villeneuve as far as filmmakers go. So, and he did. What did he do? Skyfall. Which one was that?
Mm-hmm.
One of he did. Skyfall's a fine movie. It's
sure, but I mean, Denis Villeneuve is like the top of his game right now. Like he is as hot as you could be as a director, and James Bond. Now, like, look, I don't know him personally or know what he's ever strived to become as a movie person, but you think about the big stuff that he's done, right? Like Blade Runner 2049 is a fucking masterpiece.
Yes, it is.
Dune, both of them are incredible movies.
Yes, they are. They are.
And like, look, I love James Bond, iconic character. Like, I can't honestly see Bond stretching into that kind of like movie style, you know? Or if we get a Bond movie that's 3.5 hours long, like that'd be so cool. I think maybe.
I mean, if it's good, yeah. If it's bad, it'll be bad. It'll be terrible.
I don't know. I think it's great for them to have him, but it might not be great for him to be that guy.
Now, is he signed on for just a single shot movie? Because that's a little bit odd then, compared to what we're used to now with like the running storylines with like different Bonds.
I don't know.
So
I don't know where you take Bond at this point.
Do we even know who is Bond?
No.
Am I lapse on that? Okay, I didn't.
I mean,
so.
It'll be probably up to the director.
Oh, well,
I think the
Prime
official
has it, so I don't think it will be up. I think Prime's going to make that choice.
I think there's even money right now. It's for Tom Holland.
Tom Holland,
he's too young. He's way.
I
too
would
young.
riot,
dude. He's like 27.
Doesn't matter. He
How
looks like.
old do you need James
Bond?
Bond?
12-year-old. He looks young. That's the point.
I don't think Tom Holland fits the Bond look and feel. I mean, if they tried something new, maybe like
young athletic British guy.
Like
I don't know. Hey, look,
like
I'm just giving you the actual Las Vegas odds.
I mean,
I didn't pick it.
I mean, Tom Holland as Bond, like they could do some.
Imagine the roles that you get as Spider-Man and James Bond. God damn.
Well, like Nathan Drake. Yeah.
What a dude.
They could.
I mean, listen, that movie's
fine,
not very good. Nobody cares that he was Nathan Drake.
So if it's Tom Holland as Bond, they could do some like Bond when he's like, you know, a fresh agent, like a fresh 00 or whatever, and like, you know, learning the ropes or some stupid shit. But like that's already contrived and played out, right? Like I don't need that.
Well,
I don't know. I don't see Tom Holland as Bond. Like
look, the other option,
they'd have to sell me on
which
that
has
shit.
been my favorite option for a while, but now he's getting a little bit older too. Was Idris Elba?
Okay,
like
that I'm fine with.
What a badass actor.
Yeah.
Well, that was talked about like 5 years ago.
Well, that's what I mean. Like that was a long time ago now.
I have a question. Does that have to be a British actor?
Hmm?
Does that have to be a British actor?
I think it probably does.
Why?
I won't say yes, but I have a hard time believing that it wouldn't be a British guy.
Yeah, I think they want to keep that.
I think UK.
Yeah.
So not necessarily just English.
Yeah,
but,
that's the thing, man.
Wales, Scotland, possibly Irish, but I mean, it'd be hard to say no.
Yeah, I got you.
Some crazy ass Australian James Bond running around.
Imagine the guy, the guy who plays Kano.
Yeah, him. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
just make it fucking Carl Urban.
Yeah,
Carl Urban James Bond.
Yeah, maybe.
Carl
played
Urban's
his exact role from The Boys.
The Boys, indeed.
Okay.
So this week I'm really bad about saying what I'm doing. I usually just let you two silly gooses talk about it.
What are you doing this week? What did you get into this week, Grayson?
I watched a lot of F1. I was lucky to see that opening Thursday night in IMAX. Boy, what an experience!
That was badass.
Yeah, awesome.
I didn't have that pleasure, and I'm kind of like, for the first time in a while, I'm jealous that I didn't get to see a movie in IMAX because I know it was awesome.
Yeah, man. And then I saw it again in Dolby.
Spoiler alert: F1 is really awesome.
It's pretty rad. Yeah.
Spoiler.
We are going to talk about that. What else? Oh, so I got my first week in on my new movie. I'm really excited about that. I don't know if I'll end up going on location to where they are, but I hope I do. I really do. I don't know many of the specifics yet, but
you should just lay out everything going on that movie right now in front of us as we talk.
Nope.
Why?
Nope. Because I don't want to be that guy. Come on, man. No. It is a movie, and I've completed 1 week on it. I know it's supposed to be. People are talking about it like it's supposed to be the next Oscar winner. However, I worked on Out of the Furnace. They talked about Best Picture nominees. So, and that was one of the Razzies that year. So take everything with a grain of salt. Everything.
What's the other really bad movie you worked on?
There's been a couple. Harold and the Purple Crayon.
Harold and the Purple Crayon's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Did you work on that weird pickle movie in Pittsburgh?
I did. Oh my goodness.
Did. Oh my gosh.
That movie sucks, man.
Yeah, that movie's bad.
The Seth Rogen movie. It just didn't. It's an idea that like could have been funny, but it just didn't pan out.
I mean, for like the first 20 minutes, it's funny, and then it's just like weirdly racist. And it's like, look, I wish none of what I said was a joke either.
Yeah.
Just saying.
It ends up being racist, and it doesn't try to be, which is the worst part.
Yeah, I would agree. But yeah, that's about it. It's super. It's like it's hot here without any humidity, so like it's blazing, but like it's not really blazing. But I imagine for you guys,
fucking horrible here.
And I keep seeing thunderstorms, rolling in, and for some reason they never.
Did you get that sweet Amber Alert at 3:06 a.m. a couple nights ago? That was cool.
Scared the shit out of my daughter. Yeah,
scared this dude. Like, look, I don't know if you. I don't. Obviously, no matter where you watch this from, I assume most of you guys are probably American, right? So our Amber Alert system is generally the same from state to state. I have so many devices in my house.
Yep.
Like iPads, watches, my work device, all of my work devices. At 3:06 a.m. was that Friday into Saturday? Yeah. My house must have lit up like a Christmas tree. Just
it's a good thing that happens, though. Getting awareness out there is
sure. I understand that.
Yeah.
But you know what? I got really annoyed. Not really annoyed. Listen, I'm very happy that child was found safe. Less than 25 minutes later, so you probably didn't need to send that out to everybody in a 220-mile radius.
Yeah, well,
which is how far are we from the Columbus area here?
About 100.
About 140 miles, give or take. Yeah, it's great. Thanks.
Yeah,
glad you're found safe, kid. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was like, look, last time I got one of those at like 5 a.m. when I had a tornado warning. I was happy to be woken up for that one. And it was a banger of a storm. No tornado.
Yeah.
That's when I thought I was going to die. I think I told you guys that story. Yep. Yeah, that was great. I was just take the house. It's fine.
My goodness, man. All right. Well,
we protect the family. I'll die for the house.
We have been talking long in the tooth. Let's get a show started, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's start talking about some stuff. Yeah, sorry for the delay. Yeah, let's start talking about
let's talk about other stuff.
Let's talk about the box office.
Yeah.
As we always do. This weekend, number one, if you can probably guess, F1, the movie, took the number one spot. $55.6 million for a worldwide of 144. Not too shabby.
No, good number.
Right.
I'm really happy about that. Number two, How to Train Your Dragon, $19.4 million. $454 million and still climbing. The international box office for this is it's still a steady 30 to 35 a week, so that's really really good. Yeah, I'm happy for that. Elio, 10.7 million for a 72 million worldwide. What in the world?
All right, so stop before you go to your next thing.
All right.
I want you to know that everybody, Grayson has given out 3 movies, only one of which was new, in F1 being number one. Another movie came out this weekend that a couple months back would have thought would have been a huge gainer in Megan 2.0.
M3 2.
And I believe that's next, right? Is that number 4?
That is number 4. You are correct,
What's
sir.
the number?
10.2 million.
Oh my God, what a bomb.
10.2 milli for a 17.1 worldwide. That's not great. However, it's just there are other things to watch right now. And it's sad to say it is. That's just what it is, man. I mean, adults that I think would go to Megan 3 or 2.0 would first want to see F1 or 28 years. I mean, that's just my personal take on it, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Because the M3 did very well for itself, the first one.
It did, yeah.
But also
it was a good movie too.
It also came out at the appropriate fall time. It seems like a better place for that movie. I don't know what the problem was with 2.0, but
did we ever get the scores for that movie?
We did not.
Okay,
you're welcome to
Google
that.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
28 years later, 9.7, number 5 for a worldwide of 103. That was off to a better start than it's giving me hope for. I thought it would. It's actually a pretty even split at the domestic 50 million and the international 52. So it's not, it's pretty split down the middle then on that one.
Look, my phone knows we're talking about Tom Holland.
Yep.
First thing on my Google feed was a Tom Holland thing.
Good. Number 6, Lilo and Stitch. Number 7, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Number 8, Materialists. Number 9, From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. And number 10, Karate Kid Legends. Still in the top. Final Destination Bloodlines. Holy moly, that's number 11. You guys know that did $283 million. Oh my goodness, would never have guessed. But that was actually an okay movie.
Megan 2.0 has got a 58% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 55 Metacritic.
All right,
that's just kind of middle of the road. That's good though.
I mean,
that's probably a little better than middle.
What do you expect it to be?
Yeah, I agree. Roger, my friend. No, Chris. Oh my goodness, Christopher, you beautiful, beautiful man, hit us with a movie recommendation.
All right. Well, so I have a movie recommendation for everybody, and it's going to be on theme for the movie of the week. So I have chosen bangers in the past, like Ghost Ship. So hold
on. Before we talk about this, so next week we have our bracket.
True.
So Chris sent out the preliminary everything that's on the bracket. He hasn't sent the actual official shaped out bracket yet.
Yeah.
But he sent out all the things that we, talked about over the last 16 to 17 weeks or so.
Yep.
There's some interesting things on there.
There is.
And Chris is mentioning Ghost Ship, which is a movie that he picked.
Oh, yeah.
That is
good.
It's on the bracket.
Just like the movie, it's going to take lives. You know what I'm saying? So here we go.
I'm doing this for the integrity of the show, Chris said. I have it right here.
As I picked Ghost Ship. Well, so this time I'm going to go away from that and actually pick a good film, and we're going to go with
Death Race.
We're going to go with Gran Turismo.
All right.
Recent Gran Turismo film. But I think, and we talked about this a little bit before the show started, it fits the theming of what we're talking about this week in a big way. I feel like it is kind of like the little brother, even though it came out first, like the little brother to the F1 film. It has the same kind of heart feel to it, where it has kind of similar through lines. It has a decent cast. It's shot well. The soundtrack's great for it, and it's just it's where F1 is like an overall big step up from Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo is a good movie, and it was a lot of fun. Grayson, do you have the particulars on
I do.
For that one?
Of course, that came to us in the summer of 2023, directed by Neill Blomkamp. Mm-hmm. David Harbour, if you remember, Orlando Bloom, Archie Madekwe, he's the one that plays Jan Mardenborough, Jaimin Hansu, to name a few, and Takahiro Hira, he's the maker of Gran Turismo, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and a couple others, but it's a very, very solid movie. It is. I'd recommend.
So instead of picking Gran Turismo, you should have picked Gran Turismo 3 from PlayStation 2 as your movie choice for the week, as probably Probably like the most critically acclaimed video game of all time.
One of my favorite
you
games
should have
I
picked
had.
that. I'm just, you know what? Next for the next movie bracket, I'm just picking whatever I want to talk about during that time frame.
No,
that's right.
Well,
Set
so,
new
like,
parameters.
So, fun
for this
fact:
movie bracket.
the best and worst part of Gran Turismo 3 was the introduction of the endurance races. So I ended up using my dad's fishing lures, which he had lead weighted fishing lures, and I would just hold them on the X button once I unlocked the F1 race car, and just ground around the turns of the tracks.
So yeah, the
completion
completely
score.
circular track. So I used to so it came out when I was in college.
Okay, yeah.
Which is, because I'm a little bit older than you guys.
A little bit.
We would take the rubber band and
Mhm.
wrap it around the corner of the controller with an eraser thing
Yep.
wedged against it, so it press it down and it would just
Yep. So is that yep?
and then I would just leave. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't even be in the room. It would just like I would be in class.
I went and did something else. Yeah.
in school,
Mhm.
like learning about adult things.
All right, Gran Turismo 2023. Back to it.
Yeah. Fantastic movie. For what it was. It's while we were rooting for it, it also surprised us a little because it was as good as we wanted it to be. And for a video game film that gets a lot, those things get a lot of flack. Gran Turismo is actually a really good time and a fun watch, and it's got a great soundtrack to it too, which makes it all more enjoyable. I think if you haven't seen it, you should watch Gran Turismo if you're into racing movies. It's actually it's better than what you're probably giving it credit for.
I remember when Gran Turismo came out, like we had a lot of trepidation about it. We
Mhm.
thought there's no way that they would make this into
Yeah.
like hearing the idea of Gran Turismo the movie, you have to automatically be like, how the hell would they?
Yeah,
make
because
that
it's
a movie?
like it's just going to be a generic racing film, right?
But it's not. Like
Yeah.
they took a good idea, like he has to qualify through and like work his way into like
Mhm.
real racing, and it works.
Yeah.
Like it's a good movie from start to finish.
Yeah. Fun
And
fact: one of the few films I've actually seen with Grayson as well, completely on accident, but that was one of the ones where we just happened to both be in the same theater at the same time.
Are you sure? Because I remember watching that in Atlanta. It must have been
No.
just when I was leaving. Maybe it was
You
just
want-
when I was leaving.
You watched it here because I walked in and you got my attention very sheepishly because you weren't sure if it was me or not.
Okay, maybe it
in
was,
the
but
middle
I
of the
remember I watched it with the woman who worked on it as the accountant in Atlanta. So maybe it was like right before I came back. That
Maybe.
must have been it.
did he
Okay.
cry during that movie?
It was
Maybe.
close.
That last sequence, man, where like it's just that wonderful music is playing, and it's just yes, it gets me. Here's the thing, and I'm going to talk about it again later today. Is sequences like that get me because unfortunately, we just don't get them very often. If it was a weekly thing where like filmmakers tried to get powerful sequences to cap off their films, which should 100% be every single fucking movie you watch, then yes, it wouldn't be an issue. But I'm taken by surprise by these movies that like I don't expect anything from, like Gran Turismo, that just yes, it was a beautiful sequence. It was probably a little undeserved for the movie we thought we were going to get, but I remember that movie just surprising the hell out of me. And just Harbor, man, whoo, he really that script really leans on Harbor to do a lot of the heavy lifting, but man, he is a great guy for it.
Well, he was
Even-
happy to be there. He's
even-
a big video game guy.
Yeah, he's always a Gran Turismo guy too.
Yeah.
Like that's one.
So
of
was
his...
Orlando Bloom. Orlando Bloom's a big racer too. So
nice.
yeah, I think that was a much better movie than we should have gotten, but it was a surprise.
They had to get Orlando Bloom just so he keeps saying Nissan over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Get you in the Nissan.
Yep.
In the Nissan.
Yeah.
Well, good recommendation, Chris. It's a good. If you liked F1, there's no reason why you
It
shouldn't.
really
go back and
truly
watch
is.
It really is.
It
Like
what?
thinking ahead in the bracket, like I don't know how what's a movie that's equal to Gran Turismo in like my mind's eye,
Speaking of movie brackets, I'm going to run down before we get into.
Okay,
Before we get into
we're gonna preview next.
Yes.
next
Okay.
episode. Oh,
On this
man.
episode 36 of Post Credits Podcast, we are teasing the movie bracket, which we will film in the next. We record in the next week or two. If you remember back, the first movie bracket we did, you guys will call it. I won't ever use this term with Gladiator. Scrappy Gladiator made its way to the top. However, Aladdin just
it didn't
came
make
out of
its way to
nowhere.
the top. It made its way to the finals.
Yeah.
He went to the finals, and then Aladdin came out of nowhere and just smacked it in the face.
Yes,
He's
a
trying.
small, relatively unknown.
He's trying to
newcomer,
rewrite history right
Aladdin.
here.
Yeah, really fitting a narrative to somebody else's movie pick. That's all I'm saying.
I remember we were talking
All that
about.
I know is I'm undefeated in the bracket challenge. Is all that I know.
Anyway,
Oh, geez, here we
What
go.
we got?
To quote Roger from when we were talking about how good Aladdin said, to quote Roger, good. That's what Aladdin needs. More accolades. Yeah, good. All right. So here we go. And if you know the rules, every movie recommendation every week gets put into a list, and then Chris will seed them however they fall according to
they get seeded by Metacritic, right?
By Metacritic critical review score.
All right, so I'm going to read down the list. It's going to be
this is not the Metacritic order, by the way.
This is not.
No, this is the order they were.
I just want to lay it out there. Okay, that's all.
Edge of Tomorrow, The Nice Guys.
Damn, I love that movie. I fucking love that movie too.
Tangled,
Taken,
movie. Mortal Kombat from 2021.
Fucking love that movie too.
Was it 2021 you recommend?
95.
Okay, my mistake. 995. Black Hawk Down, excellent movie. Blade 2, Happy Death Day 2, Kick-Ass, Con Air, Ghost Ship.
I forgot Con Air's on this list too.
Ghost Ship.
Ghost Ship, doing this for the integrity of the show, says Chris Bond.
Yep.
Mission Impossible Fallout, Lilo and Stitch, John Wick Chapter 4, How to Train Your Dragon, Shaun of the Dead. Man, there's like 8 movies.
Some fucking bangers on this list, dude. Like there's some cannon fodder in the first round, and there's like round 2 is going to be like shit.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Like Ghost Ship gone, round 1 gone.
No, Ghost Ship's Ghost Ship's going to tear right through the number 1.
I love this. I wanted to premise with Chris is the one that picked Ghost Ship, and I guarantee you there's no way he votes for Ghost Ship at all during this entire bracket.
Well, it depends on what it's up against. I don't know.
Look, I assure you, without knowing the Metacritic, that it's going to be a low Metacritical score.
I'll spoil this much. The Ghost Ship is the bottom seed movie.
Hold on. It's Ghost Ship or it's Mortal Kombat from 95. I mean, one of those.
Ghost Ship is the lowest at a Metacritic score of 28.
So
is it really?
I'm trying to think of what's going to be the highest on this. Is it going to be How to Train Your Dragon?
I'm not. I will spoil nothing else.
Okay, but that or Edge of Tomorrow, man. Edge of Tomorrow is just perfection. I can see.
No,
I bet you Mission Impossible Fallout.
Fallout's got a high number too. Ooh.
I'll bet you How to Train Your Dragon.
I bet you Tangled's got a high number too. Yeah.
Anyway, so
it'll be fun.
Look forward to that in the next week or two.
I want. Yes, we're going to do it. It'll probably be next week, and we'll have it out sometime after that. But like, look, I want everybody listening to understand, because I know you guys are like, we have a lot of fun doing that.
Oh yeah,
like it really is some of like the most fun stuff that we do, and it's actually far harder than what you think it is to. To like try to lobby for a movie to get the other 2 people to vote with you, because that's how we do it, right?
Yeah.
We there's the 3 of us. We all have to vote on one of the 2 movies, because like there can never be a tie.
Nope.
No one can abstain. You have to. It's 1 or 2. Which one are you picking? And it's fun.
Oh yeah.
And it's difficult. And
here's what makes
this, just so you understand, like to get to the finals last time, we had Gladiator versus Ghostbusters. Like.
Yep.
Like what a movie bracket!
Oh yeah,
God damn.
Yeah, I felt bad. I felt bad giving it to Gladiator, but just compared to Ghostbusters.
No, I get it. It's fine. Yeah, listen. And we had 2 Oscar winners slugging it out in the finals.
Here's what makes it interesting though is we have a, what do you call the order in which we pick? You guys called it something. I don't know how to. What's the term for that?
Order in which we pick.
Order in which there's like a specific order in which we're going.
Oh, it's the
seating.
Yeah, seating.
No. But like whose turn it is to make the first call, second call, third call. Okay, Snake. Okay, so it's Snake. What makes it easy, or what makes it challenging and somewhat strategic, is there is no the first person goes, and then if they vote for a movie, then the second person goes, and if they vote for the same movie, it's it. It's over.
Yeah, third person didn't even get a vote.
Yeah,
they don't get a vote. They get nothing. So that's what makes it fun. Is like. So this is going to be. I'm already this thinking about it.
It really is fun though. Like I think you guys will like it. The first one we did, and actually maybe I'll dig that up and throw it back up there.
It's on Spotify. It's on our Spotify list. It's just not on our YouTube because there's no video content to it on that one.
Oh really?
We didn't do a video.
I couldn't find.
I thought we did. One of you guys did the graphics to move them over, didn't you? Mm-hmm.
No, I tried to get a graphic set up, but we never.
I bet you I have the master of that.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
We should definitely put that back up. But that's going to be a good time. It's sometime in the next 2 weeks.
I'm not going to edit it though.
No,
if that video is 4 hours long, it's going up. I don't care.
It's like a tight 36 actually, which is good.
All right. So just so you know, Grayson asked me last week to edit something. Added 4 seconds off the beginning of last week's episode. And I responded with one simple text message that just said, no.
Perfect.
That's it.
Perfect.
All right. I think that's good.
I no longer have control over that, so like I have to be
That's
at
right.
Roger's mercy for that.
Oh, listen, you edit your part however you want, buddy.
I'm just gonna start
However
saying
you
Fair.
bad stuff, so you have to edit it. But all right, it is time actually.
Yeah.
This is going to be a really good discussion because on this episode, which is 36 of Post Credits Podcast, is something that I've wanted to
36.
talk about for a while. It's good that this movie came along when it did because we were going to get to it eventually. However, let's talk about Brad Pitt and his involvement in F1 and being, I think, one of the last real movie stars. Because we just in this new generation called the Netflix generation coming up is like none of those people are movie stars. None of them. So Brad Pitt and I'm going to use a movie from 2022 that should have won, Top Gun Maverick, is again the power of the movie star as opposed to the power of the streaming people, the streaming stars that those companies keep pushing on us and getting us to want that we just don't want them. However, because it matters, it should matter. Your dollar should say who makes that list, and they just haven't for a long time. So now having seen F1, I'm assuming you guys have seen it too, I think it's fair to say that Brad Pitt's kind of mythological status in Hollywood is what may help make F1 what it is.
Sure. I'd agree with that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the thing that Brad Pitt does in this movie is I think he's Brad Pitt with a little bit of Sonny being thrown in there, not the other way around.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. Brad Pitt, he has been a very successful actor from a very young age. He just skyrocketed up, man, from the mid 90s. He just went tippy top really quick. And let's talk about it, guys. Let's talk about Brad Pitt. Start off by saying, what are some movies that Brad Pitt you guys really admire him in?
Fight Club.
All right.
I mean, it's a good one.
I mean, well, like, look, Brad Pitt's been in a ton of stuff. Like his, besides his role in, oh God, I'm blanking. Legends of the Fall for a minute. Like Fight Club is what brought him to the forefront, right? Like that is what is like launched him into superstardom.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other big role that I will always remember is one of his more recent ones is his role as Cliff Booth in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Just because like that role that he plays there is very much Sonny Hayes almost from F1.
Yeah.
So like very similar, just really similar character there for me.
Yeah.
Those are my two favorite ones, but I mean he's been in so much other stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like thousands of things. Hell, he had like a 3-arc episode thing on Friends.
Yeah.
You remember that for a while?
Yeah.
Like, God damn.
His appearance on Friends is one of the better of the special guest characters too that ever like.
Well, and they had like Clooney was on there.
Yeah.
I mean, think about like he's big in the Oceans movies.
I just watched all 3 of those this weekend. Too.
Oceans are good movies too. It's not like he's the big thing in it.
I mean, a couple of the Oceans movies.
Okay,
are good. Let's just temper that.
Yeah. All right.
No. Well, no. The Oceans 11, 12, and 13 are great. Oceans 8.
Oceans 12 is not good.
Well, it's got some really cool stuff going on in it with Tours and how they pull off the heist. It's really one of those movies we never talk about, the heist film, but like that's as much fun to watch the heist play out as any heist movie ever is.
No,
you don't think so?
Movie stinks.
Well, anyway, so
movie stinks, Roger. I disagree, but let's talk about some Brad Pitt movies, guys. Let's do it.
Pitt filmography here. There's got to be tons.
Well, I mean, so
I'm going to do the bottom 10, like the worst to the 10th worst. So
wait, hold on. What do you?
Oh, these are ranked by Rotten Tomatoes.
If you just type in Brad Pitt filmography, the first thing that comes up is Fight Club. By the way.
Well, it's probably one of the most prolific movies.
So I'm going to do the worst 10 and then the best 10, and we'll take a look at it that way. So number 50 to number 40 is Cool World from 1990. That's got a 4% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't know what that is.
The cartoon movie.
Yeah,
is it?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Cutting Class from 1989. Johnny Suede from 1991.
Mm-hmm.
The Favor, 1994. The Counselor from 2013 is among his worst.
Okay.
That's with a whole bunch of people on that one.
Whack.
That has Fassbender, a couple of the people, Laura Linney, I think so. No, Cameron Diaz, a couple of people. Anyway, By the Sea from 2015. That's number 45. Number 44 is The Devil's Own with Harrison Ford. I actually really like that movie, but not like I enjoy watching it. Happy Feet 2, number 43. One of his
Penguin
worst.
movie.
Don't pick on Happy Feet.
Well, they are. Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas, number 42.
That's a bad movie.
Meet Joe Black, 98.
Hey, that was a big movie. That's a bad movie.
Yeah, well, that's number 41. And number 40 is War Machine, if you guys remember the Netflix movie.
Yeah.
And Chris, right above that, I just think it's important to mention is Troy.
What?
A movie that's very special to you and me. I don't
love that movie.
Well, Troy has a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think Troy's 53 bad. I will never say it's 53 bad.
What's Fury?
Fury? I'll tell you. Well, Bullet Train is number 38.
That's crazy
I
too.
like Bullet Train.
Bullet
Train's
Train's
a fun movie.
all right.
Then I'll just, what'd you ask? Where's what?
Fury.
Oh, Legend of the Fall is number 30. And I'm a huge fan of Legend of the Fall.
Okay.
Fury falls in at, still scrolling. Oh, number 18. There are 18 Brad Pitt movies better than Fury. Or 17.
Hold on. I got a couple of them I can just list off right now.
All right. Do it.
Inglourious Bastards is definitely a bit higher up than that.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me confirm that.
I'll have him confirm. It's okay.
Number 4.
7.
7, yeah.
That's definitely one of his best.
7's good without Brad Pitt in it, though, I think.
That's number 11. Okay.
Benjamin Button.
Mm-mm.
What?
Mm-mm.
Benjamin Button is lower than 18 on this list.
Benjamin Button is number 21.
Wow.
I know. Well, this is ranked by Rotten Tomatoes purely by numbers.
The older films
hold
are
on.
weird.
Moneyball.
Moneyball is super high. Number 2.
Dang.
God damn, what's the highest one?
12 Years a Slave. Which you might not remember that as a movie Brad Pitt was in because he wasn't. I just don't. But
Yeah.
Okay.
hell of a movie though. Hell of a movie, really is.
Honestly, didn't remember he was in that movie. So
Well, I consider Moneyball number 1 because I don't really consider 12 Years a Slave a Brad Pitt movie. However, True Romance number 3, Inglourious Basterds number 4, The Big Short, the movie that really took everything by storm. That's number 5.
okay, Big
He's
Short's a
in
good
that?
movie. Yeah.
F1 slots at number 6 of the best Brad Pitt movies.
Nice.
Just so you know. 12 Monkeys number 7. Number 8, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Anyone kills anyone, it's manslaughter. That's a Brad Pitt quote.
That's manslaughter.
Thelma and Louise from 91 is number 9. And
Sure.
Tree of Life, that's the Terrence Malick film from 2011. That's number 10.
Where's Snatch?
I was gonna say so like my favorite Brad Pitt performances, Snatch has got to be in my top
Pikey.
5. I think he's fantastic in that movie. It's a good movie, but his performance in Snatch is so goddamn fun.
What
Snatch
the
is not
fuck
on
did he
this
say?
list.
What?
Snatch is not on the. Oddly enough, is not on. So it can't. Snatch is better than 4%, right?
Hold
There's
on,
no way it's
Hold on.
worse.
How is 10 Years a Slave
12.
12 whatever 12 Years a Slave on this list, but Snatch isn't?
I don't know. I was just scrolling looking for the poster. Maybe I just missed it.
And I say that because 12 Years a
No,
Slave.
I lied. Snatch is
Okay.
number 22. I was looking for the wrong poster.
Okay.
I was looking for the poster.
Okay.
I couldn't. Snatch is
All right.
22. Okay.
All right. I will stop my tirade then.
That's
My,
that's just ahead of Megamind, by the way.
what's World War Z?
Higher than you'd think.
14.
I just
No.
watched World War Z
Yeah,
again,
good
like
movie.
this week.
It's not bad.
I just watched it over the weekend as well. Hold on. I just had it. Where's World War Z? World
It's very
War.
watchable.
Oh, that's number 26.
Okay, 26. All right.
That is 67% Rotten Tomatoes.
So like you already mentioned Troy being pretty low on the list. I think Troy is better than what people give it credit for.
I agree.
I think it has, for when it came out, the movie fit the time that it was shot and released. But like there's some really good fight choreography in that film that is above board, far above board, I believe. The large scale like war style fight scenes, they were everywhere around in that era. But like I think that movie did it better than most. And then when Achilles fights Hector, that is one of the most exciting like 1v1 sword fighting scenes, like that has been done on screen. It's fantastic, and everything that you think is going to happen in that fight happens, and it's still an exciting scene to see. I really do like that film, probably more than others.
You're talking about. I thought it was weird that, like, it's okay that The Rock is there in a draft they don't intend to use as the final draft, but for The Rock to have made it, like, I'm talking about a literal rock that he trips over.
Yeah.
Hector. I still have a hard time with that sequence because of there's this random massive stone that no one ever would have moved out of the pathway right in front of the big gates of Troy. I find that's a little odd to me, unless that is for some reason in the lore of the poems, which certainly could be. I've not read that in a long time, but I thought that was pretty silly. But,
but
I agree with you.
it ends up being inconsequential because he tells him to get up, so it doesn't really matter.
True,
in that
and
sense. But on your list you just read off, and I don't know. I think my earliest memory of Brad Pitt is Interview with the Vampire, and
sure, where's that on the list?
Number 29.
Wow, that's a better movie than 29.
I agree 100%.
But in that, Fury's amazing. Inglourious Bastards is fantastic. Like there's so many.
Auto the Apache.
There's so many good movies with Brad Pitt in them. He's a goddamn star, and there's a reason for it.
Grayson.
Yes, sir.
Where is Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
I'm glad you asked.
Because, look, I don't necessarily think that's a good movie, but that was really, really popular.
Mm-hmm.
Mad star power in that film. By the way,
number 32.
That's about right. What? Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be down the list. That was just a massive movie.
Babel number 25, Ocean's 13, 24, Megamind.
Where's Ocean's 11?
Ocean's 11 is 13.
Okay. It'd be funny if it was 11.
Yeah, right.
Well, I was wondering what Ocean's 13 was, but
be very meta.
So that's a good list. And then I always like the assassination of of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. That's a much nicher movie than most people. That's a huge cast.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Brad Pitt, Casey Affleck, Sam Shepard, Mary Louise Parker, to name a few. That's a really weird piece. It came out, didn't have a wide release, but it's one of those you really have to you cannot watch it with a phone. You got to just be glued to the TV. But it's got some really wonderful sequences about the end of the last few days of Jesse James. And he played Jesse James.
Do you have something?
No good.
Oh,
what I have is unimportant.
I have a question that's not directly on this topic. But if you guys could pick right now for Brad Pitt to co-star with another actor that you haven't seen him act with yet, who would it be?
DiCaprio.
Yeah,
because I think it could absolutely be hilarious. Because look, Brad Pitt,
he was in this movie with DiCaprio.
Was he?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Well, no, but okay, but
well, Chris said in a movie with someone that they haven't.
Well, I mean, I think the answer's fine though.
It's they work so well together.
Yeah.
They're so funny together.
So another one of those.
Well, they are. So here's the thing. It's funny because what I was going to say is they are working on another one of those.
Really?
It's following Cliff Booth.
Huh. Neat. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that ought to be fun.
Okay.
I don't know, but do you want it to be a male co-star, female co-star?
Could be anybody. Just someone you think that they would the chemistry would be so good between the two, whether it be romantic chemistry or otherwise, that it would take the movie and elevate it to possibly to the next level.
Did either one of you guys watch the Wolves movie with him and Clooney?
No, not yet.
No.
It's fairly newer, came out last year, last year on Apple TV. It's
by the way,
good.
number 27 on this list.
I like it. It works. They have a really interesting dynamic with each other as two older guys that are assassins or whatever that get caught up in the same kind of thing, and they're legitimately the same person, and they hate each other because they're exactly the same people.
Yeah,
and that works really well.
Yep, that makes sense too.
I mean, I don't know because the thing with Brad Pitt is he works really well with younger co-stars, older co-stars. Dude's a movie star.
Yeah,
brings it
to the word,
and here he's decent to work with, so that's all right. I think that's cool.
You got a pairing, Grayson, yourself?
Nah, I'm still. Give me a few minutes on that. However, I do want to get into. I don't want to spend too much time on this section. However, I do want to get into the reason as to why we enjoy watching Brad Pitt on screen so much. And I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that we just don't have many male leads that have the gravitas on screen that Hollywood used to have. Is your eyes and everything, it just goes right to them because they command the presence of each thing. And I think Formula One, I think Kosinski was smart enough to realize that's what he had in Brad Pitt. And you could tell some of those sequences were set up for Brad to be the absolute center of those pieces at every single time. And I really dig that because Chris, I think what you and I fell in love with as Troy is part of Brad Pitt's Achilles.
Yeah.
I think he has that super. It's the smaller, more intimate interactions are what makes that movie shine, in my mind anyway. That's what like gives that movie second life and why people should look at it again. It's Pitt's conversation with the O'Toole King Priam about Hector, about a good man versus a great man versus your time in history. It is his conversation with Briseis about the conversation with the gods being one-sided. And Achilles knows that because Achilles has met gods. It's how they center those lines of dialogue around a character that might be a god versus people who think he is a god. And it's just as in one example, but I mean, there's so many other examples of even the Ocean's films. Is like Brad Pitt is him and Clooney run the show, and whenever he's on screen, especially in the second one with, I think it's Catherine Zeta-Jones, is man, he just, not to say anything bad about her, but he is the star of those sequences.
Sure.
And I mean, those movies would have come out in a time when that probably tracks a little better than these days. But I mean, it was written in that way. Same with, I mean, like one of my favorite movies that ranks really low on this list. Well, two, I guess Fury would also be another example, but Legends of the Fall, when you have this guy, just everything bad happens around Tristan Ludlow, and he ends up cursing his family and kind of living with that, and then comes back in the end. No, you didn't curse your family, Hopkins says. But it's those sequences that are they just move mountains, man. And I couldn't, you'd be hard pressed to find sequences in movies that anything Netflix releases or anything most of the streamers release. I'm excluding Apple from this because I think Apple's quality is a little higher than the other streamers. Is you?
I mean, they made F1.
They did. Well, they made a lot of good stuff, and I think they tend to have higher production value, which is super important for a movie. It's, you got to have these characters, especially Fury. Chris, I think you can agree with me on Fury that he's in F1. I think we have some of Fury. I think we have a lot of Billy Bean from Moneyball. I think we have a lot of Tristan in this. I think we have a lot of Brad Pitt characters. Even the character from, was he Rick Dalton from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
No, he's Cliff Booth. Rick Dalton is DiCaprio's character.
Okay, Cliff Booth. Like, I think he brings a lot of those characters with him. A lot of those characters are.
Sonny and Cliff Booth are very similar people, probably with less murder.
I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that these are both more recent films on his filmography, and you say that. I think Tom Cruise has the same effect as well. Like, I think that Brad Pitt and guys like him are at a point in their careers where like they bring more of themselves to the role than they do embody a character, and like dive in. They've always brought a piece of themselves to the role. Don't get me wrong, but like now more so than ever, because like when you're casting for that role, you're almost thinking about, when you cast a guy like Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, etc., you're thinking, I want Brad Pitt in this movie, and then you write a character around that almost, because if you have a good film, you're going to get that, you're most likely going to get that actor to be on board because it fits who they are anyway.
It's not even that he's just, because obviously he's an aging superstar, but he plays that role so very well. Like, him getting older hasn't made him like less desirable to have in a movie. Yeah. So what? He's older. Somehow he got more handsome. It's like, goddamn, dude.
Well, like funny enough, like when I asked the question earlier, about like who you want to see him paired with, I think two guys that could become like later on in life, like that Brad Pitt kind of star, because I think they remind me of him anyway, are Chris Hemsworth. I think like those two would be great on screen together, because I feel like they kind of have the same energy, when Brad Pitt was younger. But then also Handsome Glenn and Brad Pitt, I think they would be phenomenal on screen together.
All right.
So
let me propose to you my backdraft starring Brad Pitt and Handsome Glenn.
Oh, there it is,
dude. So
that'd be a wild ride.
Brad Pitt plays Axe, Firestarter, right?
Yeah.
Handsome Glenn plays Bull, Kurt Russell's character, and then you get like somebody younger to play little brother.
Oh yeah, Tom Holland.
Goddamn! Give me a fucking $1 billion.
Roger's obsessed with this Backdraft remake.
First off, it would work.
It would.
That's a badass,
real good. He's like, look, watch Backdraft. You understand?
Oh yeah.
Backdraft owns.
I think Brad Pitt, who has I think he'd be paired well with a Pierce Brosnan, because Pierce really doesn't. I don't think he's ever had like the physical, like I'm going to tear your head off kind of on screen. But I think it's a good kind of juxtaposition of the two, because Pierce still has that. You don't want to argue with Pierce because he'll win, because he has that look on his face that like he's just going to win. But like, I mean, was Daniel Craig ever in a movie with Brad Pitt?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Was
Give me Brad Pitt in a Guy Ritchie film.
There you go.
Well, like not Snatch, but like playing like across from like McConaughey in The Gentleman, or
God, what a movie that is.
like Statham in like some part of like Wrath of Man style movie, right? Like you watch that.
I think Pitt and Christian Bale would also be.
Oh, that's a good combination, man. Damn.
Good call.
Damn, it's a good combination. Yeah,
Christian Bale can also be in my Backdraft film.
I was actually going to bring it up.
Also be there. He could be De Niro's character in Backdraft as the fire marshal.
Yep.
Oh, dude.
Oh.
All right, so now
we're gonna need some serious funding for this movie.
Listen, I think once we pitch it to the right guy, we won't need the funding.
Who do we pitch it to first? Brad Pitt?
Oh my goodness. Well, you got to get Brad on board since he's your baby. So.
Well, what about sure? But like, who do you think's harder to get on board with things, Christian Bale or Brad Pitt?
But Bale, absolutely.
Bale's way more choosy than Brad Pitt. Yeah.
So we got to get Bale first. Mm-hmm. But we tell him Brad Pitt's in, and then we get Brad Pitt after that.
Yeah, you absolutely run it that way, 100%.
You tell Bale that Pitt is in, and you tell Pitt.
He said he's in if you're in. So the ball's in your court, big man.
Yeah, there we go.
And then you do the same thing.
Here we go.
Like Bale says he's in. All we got to do is sign the papers.
My goodness.
God damn it. Sign it.
Backdraft remake coming your way.
Could you imagine?
Fall of 2029. Yeah. There are a couple. I mean, there are a lot of. I'm trying now. How about some women that you think he'd look really good on screen, or like would pair with him really well?
I mean, he always looks good on screen, so it doesn't really need anything else.
Does it have to be like a younger like Gal Gadot, or someone like his own age, like
well, because like look, she's not in his like acting territory.
No, not even close. But
so I mean, it doesn't have to be a romantic thing either, right? It could just be like paired alongside of.
Or how about him and Sigourney Weaver?
What kind of movie are we doing?
Yeah.
No,
is Brad Pitt in the new Ghostbusters?
No, God.
No, good Lord, no.
God, why not?
Ooh, Brad Pitt as Slimer, though.
Oh, get out of here. Okay, now we're being
Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
With the Brad Pitt face. Like with
with the face just hard stamped on it.
Yes.
No, I like
it.
I mean, I'm back in.
But here's the
I
thing
was out. You brought me back.
It's just the power of the movie star. While it's like somewhat waning in some facets of, I think on like as far as like the Avengers are concerned, like it's waning a little bit, but like with people like, but they're also, none of them are on Brad Pitt level. None of them. Not one Avenger is Brad Pitt level. I'm willing to admit.
Who should we get Brad Pitt to play in Marvel?
There was a thing, the Marvel in the 90s, Brad Pitt was one of the, I don't remember who it was.
Of course he would have been.
Yeah.
He could have been.
I don't know about now. I don't think I see him as that kind of actor either. Like you almost have to be a little bit campy to play a Marvel superhero, or any superhero for that matter.
He could be CGI. That's okay.
What about a villain? What about a Marvel villain?
I've never seen Pitt as a villain.
Well, you don't see him until you do. I mean, Cruise did it a few times. Kurt Russell did Ego. They often
Kurt
don't.
Russell seems like an asshole to begin with. I
Kurt Russell, if you'd like to come on the show and defend yourself.
Like Kurt Russell as Ego, I don't think he did much acting. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
I think that
Kurt Russell woke up and just like, I ain't reading this fucking script. He's supposed to be my son. Do I like him? Not really. All right then.
Perfect.
I got this. What's your name, boy? He's talking to Chris Pratt. Hold on. Who are you?
I think if you put Pitt into like a super suit, he's got to be someone that's like a beacon almost. Actually, never mind. He can't. Hasn't he been in a?
Oh, he's been in Deadpool.
Film? He's been in Deadpool multiple times.
Yeah,
so
died.
He's already got a character. But if I'm going to put him as
uncredited, he was uncredited as that.
If I'm going to put him as an actual, like, he needs to be someone like a beacon. He needs to be like a sentinel or a cat, or like a character that is just a very bright, shining like beacon of hope, and not Superman. Is I think who he has to be.
Right,
he could be a lantern. I think, but like they always play in an ensemble or a fiddle, and Brad Pitt just isn't an ensemble guy.
No.
You know what I mean? He is like he's a part of the 1 to 2 man show in most cases.
I mean, Oceans was very ensemble.
So it works for Brad Pitt's personality there. I don't know who he'd be as like a superhero ensemble.
But you also got to talk about
different.
too, like Oceans was 20 years ago.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Like 25 years ago.
And like I don't mean like ensembles, and he can't do ensemble movies. He obviously can, but like a superhero ensemble is different, in my opinion. Like it's just it's got a different feel and a flow to it. I just don't think Brad Pitt fits that kind of film.
I think you're right, and I don't think he'd do it anyway. I think Brad Pitt in Troy as Achilles is the closest you're going to get to a superhero movie for Brad Pitt.
Maybe.
And he was a god, so he probably views that as better. But so I mean, I just think there's something to the larger than life, because Brad Pitt is still that. To me, he's like one of the last embodiments of that 30s, 40s, and 50s golden age of Hollywood movie star that were just larger.
There's only a couple of them left.
Yeah. There's not. I mean, there's really not many left, and it's just this new generation. Just it isn't it. And I think Chris Hemsworth might be one of the few younger guys that probably will evolve into that status.
I think Tom Holland and the other young guy played Atreides, whatever his name is.
Chalamet.
Yeah, I think guys like that would argue with you. You know what I mean? Where like they have serious potential for star power down the road.
I think it boils down to there's not a whole lot of A-list left. There's a lot of B and a lot of C. Like that tier system.
Yeah.
Because people will be like, well, this is an A-list actor, and it's some dude that's done like 3 movies and 5 commercials. Like, get the hell out of here. Like there's not a whole lot of people that top that chart anymore.
I mean, we haven't seen Michael B. Perform bad in basically anything.
No. And he's awesome too.
I
Brad Pitt and Michael B. Jordan doing something. I'd be down with that.
I'd be all right with that. 100%.
Have Ryan Coogler direct it. We'll be fine.
Coogler, anybody really, like those two in a movie. It can't be the worst thing I've seen.
Okay, let's talk about Sinners for a second. What if Brad Pitt was the bad vampire in Sinners?
I could have seen that.
I see, right? Like you could see that, right? Like it's something like he's charismatic enough to absolutely been able to pull that off, even though he's a little bit older. Like I don't think age matters in that.
You could Easter egg him as the vampire he was in Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
I mean, they did that same thing in F1. They made a younger, a very close to Brad Pitt looking young guy. So it's important to note that F1's doing very well, but it's also like one of the last of its kind, and it's unfortunate. And that's why I get so emotional about the Top Gun Mavericks, about the F1s, because that's almost a dying breed, man. It's almost a dying movie because we're just not going to get them anymore, because young filmmakers, and I say this with almost as much gusto in my voice as I can get there for being sure of it, is they just don't care about that stuff anymore. They see this weird. You can see it by looking at some of the Marvel movies, by some of the other movies that come out supposed to be big. We'll probably see it in the Jurassic Park movie. Is they have these ideas of these big moments. They just don't know how to fill it in, and they hope that the other people in the movie it'll come to them, and the script will put them there. It's just uninspired is where most.
I don't know about how much of it is the young guys doing the writing, the directing, and stuff that you're talking about. I think there's most likely equal onus put on the studios as well. They want different things than they used to.
Oh, sure.
They
want more as well.
Yeah, and
more, faster, and cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
It ends up being more expensive in the long run.
It's no longer what makes a good movie. It's what's a movie that makes a lot of money that might be good. That's the priority from the business side of things too. So I don't know how much of that is lost, in the in between there, and it's on both parties, but. It isn't just one side of that fence that's causing things like that to happen. It's the system is now chewing and spitting out too much that to where it's losing some of the recipe in there. So.
It is 100%.
Do we have too much content?
I think
too much content.
Too many movies anyway.
Yeah, too much of the content is, I think, a symptom of the business side wanting to make as much as they can because they can strike that big hit to make them a bunch of return is what it is. I think if they were more methodical and careful, I think you'd get more of, the old Blumhouse where it was like two movies a year at most, but they were both super low budget but performed really well. Now we get 9 Blumhouse movies a year and only 2 of them have to be good, but they're not always guarantees now.
I would agree with that. I would agree. It's just there's something about it that's lost, and we haven't really seen it because we're in that weird transition period that, the Hollywood up to, and then like the 80s brought the action stars in. Those guys got big. So like Brad Pitt would have been in that era, the end of the 80s into the 90s. That's why Mel Gibson was such a massive success when he was. And I just wrote down a couple of, like I was doing like a, what did Mel Gibson turn down? Do you guys know he was offered Bond? He was offered all these major iconic roles that when he was first choice for Gladiator, first choice for when Bond had to be recast. It was a whole long list of things that he just turned down. I was like, holy fuck, man. But that guy was just, we just don't, those guys in the 80s and 90s that came up in the late 70s, 80s, 90s, we'll never see those breed again. We just won't. And it's a shame because Hemsworth, I think, is one of the few exceptions to that rule because he is that breed.
He's the dude.
It's just a shame that, he's really going through a weird personal matter that we may not see as much of him as I'd like to.
That's okay.
Going forward. But Extraction 3 is definitely on the docket. That is definitely happening. So I'm really happy about that. But all right, guys, let's move into the movie of the week. Very happy to. Let's start talking about F1, the movie with Brad Pitt.
What? Nothing.
Just ignore him.
Okay. Always.
It's a keyboard key.
All right. Rotten Tomatoes. Have you guys seen these numbers?
No.
83 and 97.
That feels about right, though.
Very good numbers.
I do know the Metacritic.
Unfortunately, it's sitting at a 68, which I think should be a tad higher.
Listen, if it came in at a hard 70, I'd be like, sure, fine.
Yeah.
It's because it's not perfect.
No, it's not.
And no, but it's very good.
No, so this is a kind of movie, legitimately, where fun matters because like there's so much badass stuff that happens in this movie. I'm not like action style badassery, but like overall, like that shit is cool.
Yep.
Like cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, Carrie Condon, Javier Bardem, Kim Bodina, Tobias Menzies. Written by Aaron Kruger, and that's a big one for me, and directed by Joseph Kosinski, another big one for me because of his previous films. This guy, to me, is quickly becoming one of my favorite living directors. James Cameron, you better watch it. Kosinski's moving up the ranks, brother. You better watch it, my friend. So let's talk about it. First impressions when the credits rolled. I want to go last. I want you guys to go first on this one real quick.
I'll go first. This movie's fucking awesome. And I don't say that like lightly. This movie was so fun and so cool to me. Like I loved it.
Nice.
From start to finish. Like, so this movie starts out in the first like 10 minutes, like winning the 24 hours at Daytona.
Yeah.
And he does it in such a cool way. He just gets in at midnight. Like they wake him up 5 minutes before his drive shift. And he's like behind. And then he just starts ripping through the field. And when he gives his car back up, he's like, if you lose my spots, I'll kill you. And then just goes back to his van to go back to sleep.
Yep.
Dude, that's badass.
Mm-hmm.
They wake him up to give him his trophies. That's just cool. Like, he's just fucking cool, man.
God damn, he's cool.
Yeah. Like, I would love to buy that man a beer.
Yeah.
Right? What about you, Chris?
So the movie ended, and my first impressions, thoughts was, God, that's a really good ending.
Perfect
like
ending.
the movie ends, I think, in a very good way. I think almost perfect. I think that maybe like one shift on my like one set of notes for me on the ending, but man, the movie, like the last 10 minutes of this movie is just it's out of this world good. So yeah, like that's where I was when this movie ended. I was like, God damn, good ending to a good movie.
I was in awe. I was just, again, what I had seen. I haven't felt this way since Top Gun Maverick. Of like, the overall thing, the overall picture, what I just seen. Of course, the absolute banger of a score by Hans Zimmer, which I could hear the Pirates of the Caribbean. I could hear 15 other movies in there. What a choice for someone to score this, and with the other more modern tracks in there as well. It's just the characters and how they worked and how they all kind of rotated around Brad Pitt's on-screen gravitas, and Carrie Condon. Holy moly!
Awesome.
Where did she come? I mean, like, she's always been great, but she is also undeniably one of the major star powers of this film. Absolutely. Yeah. It's just, and Javier Bardem, when he wanted to be, like, when he gave it, he was just like, he moved worlds on the screen. It's just, wow. I was just in awe of. Now, there will be other better movies this year, But this, to me, so far this will be the best example of what a movie can be of 2025. I don't want to hear any argument otherwise. As far as like movies coming together with image, with sound, with the emotion that's elicited from those things, it's just this is it, man. It's like this is that movie to me. It's like same with several others in the past couple of years.
So this movie for me slides into my top 3 in no particular order of F1, Sinners, and Warfare.
Okay,
like those are my
it's a solid list.
The 3 favorite movies so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no problem putting this right up there. So, like, look, I hope other things break in, but F1's pretty good, man.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. Like, I loved it. We need to count up. Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, so I think I'm probably a little bit lower than you guys on this one, personally. I think the movie's great. Grayson, the things you listed off, I resonate with all of those for this film, but I think that that's kind of where the greatness of the film ends. I think that if you don't have the cast that's in this movie, I don't think it works as well. I think that, like the star power and the gravitas that is Brad Pitt, that is, the fact that you have Hans Zimmer on score, the way this is shot, like all of these things really do elevate it. But there's been times where we've had movies and we've talked about, well, who else can you see this character as, or who else can you see play this character? I think that if you do that to, any element here of those major ones, I don't think the movie's quite as strong. But I think that the product we get is out of this world good. This movie is a lot of fun all the way through. You mentioned the Hans Zimmer score, and I know that's usually always your thing. We get a little eye rolly, but goddamn, there's like 3 points of this movie where the music set itself apart for me and was awesome.
Well, it's not even just the score too; it's the actual soundtrack. How it fits in too. Like,
true.
You bleed all that together.
Oh yeah,
it's good.
The soundtrack choices for this were great, which I didn't expect because Hans Zimmer was on sound. I thought it was going to be a lot of the orchestra, like score style music all the way through, but there's some good soundtrack stuff here too. But like the ending of this movie, when spoilers, when someone on the team is winning the race, dude, the music that they have going with the orchestra coming in is just on goddamn point. So there's a lot of really good elements here that just all come together to make a really fantastic movie. And so like it is good. I don't think the movie itself is strong from like a story perspective or a character perspective. I think Brad Pitt as his character works. I think the character's weak, and I think there's some other points in here too that kind of ride that line.
Well, can I expand upon what I think you just said, if you allow me for a second? So when we first started recording, we kind of tossed around the idea of like, what was the point of the young blonde-haired girl in the pit crew? I think that's part of the argument against this film. I think you're right, because I think there was a much longer version of this film where I think you're probably right about.
Well, this movie's not short either.
There's a 3-hour version of this movie.
Well, this was this was like what, 240? What was
230,
it?
230.
230. There is a 3.5 hour version. I promise you there is.
However, watch it.
I'm sure there is a thing where like she tried to have a thing with Joshua, and however that happened, like that got cut out. But the fact that like she was featured in a couple of sequences, and then it went nowhere with her. And I mean, nowhere's in like you could walk away from the fact that she also grew as a person because of his tutelage, his guidance of telling her, don't let that get you down. You made a mistake, but don't let that kill you. Like, I guess you could, but she wouldn't have been featured in that way had that been from the get-go. So in that way, I think there are some issues here, but this is by no means a perfect movie, but it's damn good. And it's And I think you're right with that. 100%. I think you're right. I think this movie has some problems. However, let me ask you a question. Did you feel the 2:30? Because I didn't feel the 2 hours and 30 minutes.
I didn't. I thought the pacing of this movie's great.
Yeah, there's only one point in this movie where it kind of slows down, but it's meant to slow down in that moment. So it's like, okay, it didn't bother me. I knew its runtime before going in for parental reasons, but it's like, no, this movie this movie at its 2:30 runtime races by, pun intended. And that's a good thing.
I agree.
Yeah,
I didn't feel it at all. I saw it once Thursday night at 10:30, so that was a holy moly. I didn't get back to like 1:30.
Bold choice.
Well, that was the only time I could find an open seat was 10:30.
Yeah.
All the IMAX, and I wasn't not gonna watch this thing in IMAX the first time through.
Do you have a nice tight corner seat with a weird angle view?
No, I had right in the middle between two couples. So
Perfect.
it was just me. Yeah. But that works really well for me being a single, because you'd always find like single seats scattered through the auditorium when you're choosing your seat on AMC.
Sits down, peels his shirt off,
takes my shoes off, starts picking my nails.
Hey man, what's up? How you guys doing tonight?
Mm-hmm.
As he's like smiling awkwardly as he's picking his teeth. Hey.
It's just seeing some of those sequences that Kosinski put in where like it puts you in the cockpit of the car and you're just zipping around those turns like an IMAX. That's unreal. But he did the same thing in Top Gun Maverick where you were going around the mountains really quick, and like it was just, I didn't see Top Gun Maverick in IMAX the first time. It was in the Big D at Marquee Cinemas the first time. AMC at St. Clairsville the first time. So it didn't have the same effect, but god damn if that wasn't awesome.
Oh yeah.
I'm legitimately jealous that after watching this movie that I didn't get to see it in IMAX, and
it would have been a cool experience for sure. Yeah. So if you have a chance, do it.
I would say honestly, this is some of the best on-screen racing shots we've ever seen.
Yeah, I think
the way that this movie is shot is incredible.
Yeah.
But I can also see why this movie cost $300 million.
That too.
Because I think from what I understand is they used a lot of real F1 cars. Those are expensive. Cameras mounted and that kind of stuff to get this footage.
Yeah.
And those cars are really expensive. Like that's where they joke, when he wrecks a car, it's like that was $150 million that you just wrecked. Because F1 is by far the most expensive sport to be a part of.
Yep.
And yeah, this movie feels not fancy, but it feels expensive. If you ever watched F1 coverage on TV, how it looks with like the paddock area, and like they have their own personal, like they look like almost hotel club areas. Each one of their boxes have that. It's just wild how much money goes into that kind of stuff, and this movie feels like it captures that pretty well to me.
Yeah. The movie, like F1, feels expensive.
It feels fancy.
Yeah, it really does while you're watching it.
Can I ask you guys another question? So in the beginning when he's just after he's won Daytona, and I'm kind of weirded out that Shea Wiggum got a credit in the beginning on screen, but it was
and he was in the movie for like 4
minutes. Yeah. Is after he leaves Daytona and he goes to the he's mapping out his quest down to the Baja 1000, his roadmap, and then Javier Bardem walks in. They have that weird little cheeky like, oh, here's my friend, and oh, your friend's fast, whatever. Is when he says how much when Pitt's playing pinball and Bardem says how much he cost to buy the team, he says
$350 million.
I think I think they did that cheeky because that was the budget of the film, and they wanted to wanted to just throw that out there right away. Like, and he's like, don't laugh at me. And it's $350 million I pay. I think they did that as like a tongue in cheek. Do you guys think that's possible?
Maybe
it is, but I mean that feels about the ground floor to get into an F1 team.
Yeah,
it does.
I mean, think about it. If cars are, $100+ million a piece, and you got to run at least two and have to have two backups, you're all of a sudden $500 million down. And that's before you talk about paying the people.
And it has an old. This is also, and I don't hold these things against F1 at all. I've never hold these against the movie, but it's also pretty cliche when it comes to the character setup, the story arcs. The older, driver with more wisdom is there to help the team, help the younger one find his way. It's the guy with broken marriages, broken incomes, broken homes, finds a girl. It's like this should be called F1 cliche the movie. But I personally, now this, I just want to see what you guys say, because sometimes it makes it in our conversations, sometimes it doesn't. I personally don't ever hold those things against a film. Do you guys?
Go ahead, Chris.
So that's my biggest problem with the movie are those cliches you listed out, because I hold it against the movie when it pulls me out of the movie, right? So there's sometimes these cliches can happen, and it isn't a glaring thing that pulls me out in like with an internal monologue while I'm watching the film. It did here, right? Because I found myself finding certain scenes very predictable because I've seen this cliche play out before in movies just like this, in time and time again. But again, what I said earlier, because of the star power that is Brad Pitt, because of how well this movie is shot, how fantastic of a ride it is to experience it, on screen, even as I'm seeing these things coming and watching these cliche characters all play out, I'm still having a good time. So it's like, yeah, it docks points for me because I noticed it, and I noticed it in the moment watching the film. But if it noticed it enough to where it made it less enjoyable, I'd put this movie down in like a 6. You know what I mean? This movie's an 8, like in my opinion. So it's like, and it's because of the caliber of care that went into making this movie, even in light of having these cliches actively mar it some, in my opinion.
Okay. What about you, Roger?
To me personally, I don't think the cliches matter too much. Now, there are a lot of them in this movie, and I don't. The one thing I'll disagree with you slightly on, Grayson, is you said about Sonny, like broken home, broken family, broken husband thing. Like, they don't ever talk about that. We don't get the vibe of that. Like,
We do. He says he's gone through like 3 marriages, a string of girlfriends.
Someone else says that he
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah, he never. Yeah, so like he never looks at himself as like he's broken like that. Really, I mean, obviously, like physically, he's beat up, in a nasty ass wreck, and I love he's just laying lifelessly on the track.
Yeah.
That'd have been unpleasant to watch on
Mhm.
television for a while. But yeah, I don't think it doesn't bother me, but I mean, I could see it, people could hold it against it, and I'd have no
Yeah.
problem with that, because like having Brad Pitt play the old timey racy guy that knows some tricks kind of fits.
Yeah, but like, I think the cliche there is more along the lines of like the even heavier one is the old timey racy guy coming in with the old tricks.
Yeah.
Is also like put in direct contention and like in battled with the young rookie who now fears his job, doesn't respect the old man. Like, that's like that whole package together is where like oh, okay. And then like things
Sure.
happen to where, the rookie should have listened to the old guy. Who would have thunk it? And then, the rookie should have listened again. And now something happened that puts his life in danger.
Well, yeah, it's not only did he not listen, he almost fucking died.
Yeah, and it's these things compounded that really start to to become noticeable, and predictable and such like that. Because like, how can you be suspended? Like, how can I have suspense when I know it's going to happen? How can I be afraid of the wreck that's about to happen when
you know it's going to happen?
When Brad Pitt gives the line of wait for the straight after turn 1. Like when he says that, I knew immediately that the rookie's not going to wait, and it's like, that hasn't even played out yet, and I know it's going to happen. That's when it becomes an issue.
Well, okay,
that's what the problem.
Let me ask you. So predictability, I'm not sure I hold predictability against a movie ever, because if you should have been able to see that coming about 10 minutes before it came anyway, only because it's a good script telling you where the movie's going. So in that way, does it still bother you?
It does, but okay. So I'll counter with something else. It doesn't have to be predictable, and I think Sonny's motivations are a great example of that. He's not the rugged veteran coming back to prove a point. He's not coming back for glory that was slipped through his fingers once. That scene that he has with his love interest, where he talks about why he does it. He doesn't really care if he wins or loses. That's not why he's there. He's there because of his love for that specific
He's there because he
moment.
fucking loves it.
Yeah, and it's like like, I didn't expect that. I was ready because of all the other cliches I got.
You wanted some cliche. This is my last shot.
I was ready for it. It was
I don't know how many more of these I got in me.
I was ready for him to tell her some story of like, it was like, I was so close to greatness, and like, it's the one place I didn't succeed, so I had to come back. And he doesn't. He's just like, I like going fast, and it makes me high. Like, that's literally what he says.
Wait, are you talking about on the roof when they're after they're? I don't think that was the point of that scene at all. I think that was one of the few times we saw the vulnerable Sonny outside of his get up outside. We saw his armor stripped away completely in those moments.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
that's absolutely true.
Yeah, I'm not saying we don't get that.
I understand what you're saying there, Chris. Chris is saying is like he didn't give the bullshit cowboy answer like, hey, I got to get my shot while I still got my chance. He doesn't do it. He does it because he wants to do it. He's like, I love this shit.
Yeah,
like, I love it.
What you're saying, Grayson, is 100% correct. The point and the biggest points of that scene is that he's being vulnerable and his guard and his armor's down, but he isn't like telling this woman, I'm here for greatness one last time, or like, it's the one thing I didn't succeed in and I need this. He's just saying how much he loves that feeling that he's chasing, and he's seeking that out.
It's interesting because you and I walked away from completely different, and I don't mean the vulnerability thing. I mean like the point of that scene and what he was saying. I'm
agreeing with you.
No. I don't see it as you're saying. Is he's just. I don't think he meant to say he's chasing that high. I thought he was reflecting on what had happened to him and the reasons why, which we had to get at some point because we got little snippets up before then, and then we got the full picture. But I mean, I think that was just part of the package with the backstory of his rise and fall in Formula One in the 90s. I think that's what we had to get.
Well, maybe, but like in that scene, the way I took it was he was explaining to her, because she asked him again, why is he here? Why is he doing this? And he says exactly, like, he explains why he loves to race so much, like that feeling that he gets at certain points when it's just him flying, like that's what he's looking for. And I found that wasn't the point of the scene, but that was the thing that broke away from the cliches.
Sure.
Like I was expecting the cliche answer, and that's not the cliche answer. So I was
it's a real answer.
I was appreciative of the movie didn't go there. And that all circles back to like you saying a few minutes ago, highlighting that, like, well, sometimes the story, is cliche, to give you, what to expect, but it isn't necessary. You don't have to be cliche, and the movie proves that in that moment.
I would also argue back to a point that you said a little bit ago, Grayson, that predictability is okay, and I agree with that. But I would also argue
some, though.
Oh, sure, I would also argue though that the end of this movie isn't entirely predictable.
Agreed,
because you could predictably have this movie go out a couple of different ways. Mm-hmm. Which is totally fine. And now they do choose a path that
talking about the movie or the race.
Both.
Okay, that's fair. That's 100% fair.
Both, I think. Yeah. Because the race,
two things, they both go ways that have multiple.
Yes, you could go anyway. And like, while they're kind of predictable to have the sequence line up the way that it does, I don't know if you could have told me before. Well, like, this will happen in the race and this will happen at the end of the movie. Yeah. If you would have told me that beforehand, I'd be like, no way. There's no way that would happen.
Yeah.
But the way that it does happen without spoiling, and I won't spoil it here, and I don't think we should.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of dig it. It very much works in this movie's universe, and it feels very much Sunny Haze.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah. For some reason, like I think that who wins the race, it should have been the other guy. I think that would have been, again, another thing that goes against the predictability.
Does it though?
I think it does, because I think it fits I think that fits the character better though.
Okay, well,
I think that really would have fit the character a little bit more, but I'm fine with the way it went.
Okay,
like 100%. You know what I mean? Because then,
because
then it shows a growth for the other character too. You know what I mean? Because which is also a big deal. I don't know. I think this movie is good enough to where. This movie is so good and entertaining that it had multiple avenues.
I wonder how many endings this movie would actually.
That's also fair too, but like it had options for endings, and all of them feel good. I think all of them are good endings to what happens. Even though like I wish the movie would end it at the race ending, not like right on the flag, but like the celebration and everything that happens and stuff. Everyone that feel good high adrenaline moment. I think I'd have preferred where the movie kind of like fades out somewhere in there, but I'm also okay with where they went.
I'm very okay with how it actually ended.
Yeah. Well, that's what I want. Fun. That's one of my questions to you guys.
Okay,
To me, because that's how, like, for instance, Gran Turismo, a movie you recommended, that's how Gran Turismo ends. It ends with that wonderful long piece of music. It ends right there on the thing. Like, that's kind of where the movie should have. Okay, That's fair. I get that, because that was what they were chasing the whole time, was the victory.
Yeah.
This one I'm not sure, because we still needed to close him and what was her name? The Carrie Condon character in this, Kate.
Oh, God.
We still needed to end.
Yeah.
We still needed to close the loop of him and Kate.
Oh,
that
yeah.
actually, how that goes down, I didn't see that coming either.
True, right? That's usually how that goes.
I thought we were going to get
I
the
was
Top
okay
Gun
with that.
Maverick
Same.
ending where he was going to go away or pretend like he was going to
Just
leave it, and then he was going to
walk
come
off
back.
in the sunset.
Yeah.
Or he was just, because they kind of set it up. I thought for a second that when everyone was celebrating, and then you see Kate and Joshua kind of looking for him in the crowd, and he kind of faded away in the background with like the camera was tracking upwards, and he was going further and further into like the shade from the lights. And I thought, oh, he's just going to disappear. He's just going to, peace, I'm gone.
Yeah.
But he didn't. And like Kate got her ending with him, and I get the vibe that they're going to meet up again.
Everybody gets an ending that is like that works, right?
Yeah.
But it's not overly predictable.
Yeah. Well,
but it kind of is.
Yeah,
and it kind of isn't.
In a way, it is. But the reason why I say that I think the movie should have ended, I would have preferred that it ended with like the race and the close out there, is because the score hits such a high note in that part. Like when people are going through the finish line, you have a teammate cheering for the other one. Everyone's pumped up. You're in the winner's circle. Everyone's
sad
celebrating.
Bad guy,
yeah, like
fucked off in the background.
The music is at such a high point, and it's so impactful that like to bring it down with a fade out would have been like ending on the highest note. That's the only reason why I say that. I'm okay with everything that happens otherwise, anyway. But like, I feel like the movie would have been such a strong closeout right there. Be like, God damn.
I agree.
But it's a good story ending the way it went. I think it would have been a better impactful ending if they would have done it the other way. But I think it's good. Like I said, this movie had options, and that's an impressive piece to the film. That it had so many ways it could have went, and all of them feel right. You know what I mean? All of them feel good. So
Sure.
I think it's good.
How about some of the unintended yet very funny comedy in this movie? I know, Chris, you're not a fan of like comedies like Roger and I are, but
not like traditional comedies.
But
no.
like this comedy in this film, I think worked really well. Like for instance, when he kept screwing up and on purpose to get the car out on the track. What do they call that? The
safety car.
The safety car.
Yeah.
So like that was really, I kept laughing when that happened, and then when it showed on the graphic that and their plan C was fully in motion, and you see like Joshua leading the pack, and then you see way back then you see Hayes and all the cars behind him
There's
because
a
they're
line of cars behind.
Yeah.
because they're afraid of him because he's kind of an erratic driver.
He's literally roadblocking them.
Plan C is for combat.
And chaos.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
I thought that was very well timed, unintended comedy that really made me laugh. The scene when Joshua had to apologize to him and the mother, and she's like, "I'm Bernadette, hi," and he's like, "What's up?" I thought that was really good too. I just thought there was a lot of comedy in this.
I mean, even
Dr. Sharon from Ted Lasso.
Yeah, yep. Even when they walk into the facility with mom for the first time, and she's like,
"That's not an old man."
Yeah, she's like, "He's not that old.
That's a handsome man."
That's a handsome man there.
Yeah. I mean, and we saw that in the trailer, but it was still funny.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
I
also like too when like he does apologize to him, and somebody's like, "No, it's fine." Like he doesn't even give a shit. Like not one bit.
Well, like he even throws that jab in there. Like he's like, "I get it. You're just afraid that I'm faster than you," and like walks away. It's like,
no, he just walks off.
Like, what are you doing? Like,
I also think it's very Brad Pitt of him to walk around like bouncing the tennis balls.
Oh yeah,
like yeah, just felt good.
Yep.
Or like when Josh was like, "Are you listening to me?" He's like, "Not really." And then because they, that was after the first race. It all works. Yeah. And that's the power of like a real screener like Ern Kruger is like, that guy can write, man. When he's on his A game, I don't think this is his AA game, but I think this is one of his A games. Well, it's a good script.
Another thing from the trailer too is when they are doing like the strategy session or whatever, and the longer version of the scene where hope is not a strategy. Mm-hmm. Like you can't hope for some breaks. He's like, you got to get out there and make some.
Yeah.
He's like, you got to earn a 1/10 of a second here, a 1/10 of a second there, and I'll get mine, and you got to help me out. Like those are cool sessions, especially when they're actually bitching each other during the sessions.
Yeah.
Because he's like, it'd be better if you actually did this. He's like, no, it won't. And it turns out, of course it would.
Yeah.
Or, maybe they weren't all right about the same thing. I think that's interesting too.
I think it's weird that he got a cult-like following with the whole jogging thing.
I would follow Brad Pitt.
No, I think that
Don't act like you wouldn't. Don't act like you wouldn't. He's like, "Hey, fatty, you got to come jog." You'd be like, "Yeah, I do."
No, I think that was. I mean, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know, but I think that was to prove that, like,
it's a team thing.
Well, he had people want to follow the legend. People want to follow the guy who knows what he's doing.
Like, this dude clearly knows his shit. There's nothing bad that can come from us doing more team stuff together and being in a little bit better shape, because like those guys do a lot of hard work.
Yeah, I would also argue he's not a legend in this movie. That's
I think they respect. Like, I think they respect that cowboy bullshit though.
I think what them starting to jog with him and stuff. I think it's more us speaking to both the charisma of Sonny, but like also the fact that he's there for the team and he's doing things that will bring the team further, and that's showing that like the team's buying in to believing in that he's putting the team first, not him first.
Yeah,
because he's not a legend. He had a wild start to his F1 career, and it stopped just as fast, and he was a nobody after that. He's not a legend in any case.
Was.
Yeah, exactly.
The old never was line, which is always right to the heart, man. That sucks.
Yeah. So I think that's more what that scene's doing.
I would also say too is, well, the one thing Sonny does bring besides charisma is he does everything right and professionally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's first guy there. He's the last guy out.
Mm-hmm.
He does what he's supposed to do most of the time. He usually listens to his pit boss.
Usually. Sometimes he sits in pit for 14 seconds.
And when he doesn't move, and you're just like, because like, look, I don't know about you guys, but I was just like, well, goddamn, he's just gonna fucking sit there. Like, well, I absolutely could see that coming. I was surprised that it actually happened, because like normally they sit there for a second and be like, fuck it, and then drive off all mad. He doesn't move.
Nope.
He's just like, nah.
He wanted his tires.
That's a very powerful statement, though. I mean, that's part of that, is like, that's how they chose to set some of these up too, with very, very, very powerful stuff. Like, I'm not sure I understood a bunch of that stuff with some of the technical jargon and like what it means to do this and the rules, but like I understood enough to enjoy the movie. I really
think you don't have to know to enjoy it.
That's what I heard two people in line at AMC at the concession stand say, "No, I don't know much about F1. I don't think I'll like it." It's like, have you not watched the movie in the last 40 years? You don't have to know anything about the content to like the movie.
I love Top Gun Maverick, and I don't know jack shit about naval aircraft.
You a fighter pilot?
No, yeah, I don't. Listen, I don't relate to that in any way, shape, or form. But it's like going, planes are cool.
Yeah, man.
Guess what? Cars are cool.
It's very powerful, and like we shouldn't only get 2 of these a year. That we used to get like 7 of these a year, 8 of these a year, with the huge scores and the characters that are set up with, like, for instance, the cards in this one and what they mean, and whenever you drop a line like in the beginning when he's trying to be recruited, when Bardem's character's trying to recruit him, have you ever seen a miracle? Like, of course that's going to come back in a big way. You know what I mean? Like, that was the miracle, is that perfect last lap.
Actually, I'm sorry, I mean to cut you off there, but the one thing that I think about in this movie, that's something that really stuck with me, is when Ruben leaves the diner and he flags on the waitress. He's like, "What would you do?" And she was like, "Depends on the money." And he goes, "It's not about the money." And she looks him right in the face and goes, "What is it about then?" And I was like,
that's the thesis.
God damn, that waitress out there fucking dropping nukes. Just knowledge bombs, brother.
Whoa. And that line comes back at the very end. And I think it's a good full.
It's not about the money.
Moment.
What is it about? Well, hell yeah. What is it about? And you kind of find out it's just about that life.
Yeah.
Because either you're about it or you're not.
I was actually really disappointed when it ended up with him leaving Kate, because you know me, guys, I'm a big romantic. Like, if there's an ending that involves romance, I'm all about it. He left her to go to the Baja 1000. I'm a little surprised. Sorry, spoilers. That
I thought we weren't doing that.
I'm a little surprised that the movie plays out the way that it does. Although they do get an end scene together, but it's still, I'm a little surprised that's the way.
I think the way their scenes, their close out of their little arc thing is perfect.
Yeah.
I think it's very much on point for this movie, and very much fits these two characters.
Yeah, I wasn't yelling at the screen because I disagreed with. I didn't think that the characters would make the decisions that they made. Right? You know, like it's believable with the story they set up that this is how things would go. If instead of him going to the Baja 1000 and he ends up, you know, in the strategy room instead as like a full-time employee, that ending makes sense too. You know what I mean? Because he's good enough to do that. But you know, the fact that he's like, you know, hey, I'll see you when I see a double finger gun leaves. It kind of fits, right? You know what I mean?
Sure. I had the phrase, "I have other dragons to slay."
Yeah.
What a fucking badass thing to say. This is another human being.
Fuck, man, that's a great line,
right?
too.
Like, dude. Hell yeah, brother. Go get
Old JP will never forget that. You know what I mean?
Sure won't.
He's
got other dragons.
He's going to spend the next 15 years going, when am I going to get to say that to somebody?
God
Holy shit.
Damn it, that was cool. I'll never be that fucking cool.
So many it's just the part about the cars and the building of the cars and all that's like very technical stuff. I don't think was overboard. I don't think any of the technical stuff was overboard. I don't think any of it was. I think anyone who you don't need to know Formula One to get this movie to understand the art.
I don't know much about Formula One, and like I didn't feel lost at all.
Well, me neither. Me neither.
So
not even
they did a good job.
The only thing that I was kind of surprised they didn't include in the Formula One stuff is we don't ever see them qualify at all at one time during this movie. And qualification is a big deal in F1.
It's a big deal in all racing sports.
But in F1, for a lot of the things, is you got to be up front because you don't want to get caught up in that first lap wreck.
Yeah.
Which I know they show that a lot, but like first lap wrecks happen all the time in F1. And if you're first, second, or third, sometimes you can just get away from that by not being in that cluster.
Yep.
And that really, really matters in F1. So I don't know. I don't care that it's not in there. I just thought it was it's different that it's not. That's all.
I agree. So, I don't disagree with that.
Also, F1 is pretty cool, and it's fairly accessible now, not like it was a few years back.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
You tell people to watch F1, they'll be like, "Ooh, this is a snub."
Yeah. Funny that
they do race to some of the fucking coolest tracks in the world.
I mean, it's just funny that the racing community could have snobs in it. You know what I mean? Because that crowd is kind of specific.
So it goes from the poorest
to the richest,
motorheadest people to the most pretentious, snobby assholes that you have ever met.
I mean,
they're all on the same racing spectrum.
There's so many scenes of them wearing all white. There's a reason for that. It's just pure pretension.
Yeah, exactly.
What were they racing in Gran Turismo? What was that race?
Turismo.
Oh, so
GT style racing.
Okay, so it wasn't like Formula One. I was wondering.
So GT style racing is actually how this movie starts with the 24-hour at Daytona.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is a GT race now. That's also very influential in Ford v Ferrari. 24 Hours at Daytona is a great race.
Very God, what a movie that was too. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, like look, we've got some decent racing movies, and that's cool. Yeah. Like that's like racing movies inherently.
I find it funny that
are good.
I find it funny that in the last 7 years or so, we've gotten a good bit of racing films, and they're all good. They're all like good to great, and I think it's kind of funny.
Which ones are you talking about?
Ford v Ferrari. There is the one with Chris Hemsworth in it. It's really good. That I can't remember the name of.
I don't think Rush is a good movie.
Rush is a good movie.
But that was also 2013.
So it's
okay, fine. I'm off by my years by by
he said 7 years. I was like, what? That's like 11 years.
Rush is a good movie.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, this is a good film. It's Gran Turismo, again, not a bad film at all. Nope. It's it falls lines in those like really good movies. So it's like, I don't know. I just find it funny that we've gotten X amount of racing movies in X amount of time, and none of them are bad. We haven't had a bad racing movie.
So we're due for one.
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
Death Race 7. Bring it.
Even Death Race 6 is good. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, how many Death Races are there? I don't even know.
There's at least 3.
At least 3. I think there's one that went right to DVD.
Then maybe 4.
Listen, I'm waiting for Death Race to become a real thing.
Oh, geez, here we go.
Just saying.
Yeah. So tell me,
you telling me you wouldn't tune in for $79.99 to watch actual Death Race? A fucking pay-per-view. That's what a current
I know.
pay-per-view is.
It's just funny that you put a price on watching
make it quarterly, and then it's $99.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, what was your question, Grayson?
No one answered my question.
I mean, yeah, I'd pay to. I mean, sure, why not? I'd also
exactly.
I
know you would. I don't have to ask you. I know you're in.
This
fucking degenerate.
This originated when Roger and I at work once debated how much would you pay to watch 20 armed convicts fight a silverback gorilla? Because you have
and then eventually it merged into like the phenomenon of 100 men versus silverback gorilla. Like I was doing this 20 years ago, dude. Like I already had to. I mapped this out. You'd watch the shit out of that.
I mean, it's
that really comes down to how many animals you think you could actually kill in physical combat. It's a lot lower than what you think it is. I'll tell you that right now. You think you kill your household cat with your bare hands? Doubtful.
All it takes is one good laceration, and your fight's over.
God damn it! Right?
Well, I mean, sure, but the cat's not going to put up much of a fight. If you're a good owner, then the cat's just going to come to you.
Yeah. Yeah. What if that cat all of a sudden when you try to choke it out, just like sticks it right in your eyeball? What are you doing then? Now you're blind.
Back to F1 because some weird.
I can't wait to cut that out later.
Hey, there's the short.
There's the short
right there, baby. Okay. What do you guys think of the obvious and massive production value in this too?
I mean, well done.
You're talking about $350 million. Obviously, some of that was to most of it went to on screen. Of course, the tracks, the cars, it all looked authentic. It all
good music here too.
Yeah,
like Zimmer score, big soundtrack, and like, look, this movie feels expensive, and that's a good thing
because it is.
Yeah, but the other thing too is like Apple. And I know what Warner
Brothers helped them produce
they're the distributor of this, but like Apple's production value on just about everything down to their shows seems to be pretty high. And we don't get actual numbers for a lot of their like episodic stuff.
Yeah.
But it's always crisp. It always sounds really good. Whether the content's good or not, it varies sometimes, but it always is well made. And they do a good job with that.
I agree.
I think that's a positive for them.
Oh,
because like they want to be serious about this movie thing and this media stuff, and I think they're doing a good job at it.
Yeah, the cost, the price tag of the movie is noticeable and in all the good ways. So
yes, the best kind.
Well, what are some bad ways that you guys thought could have happened with this amount of money?
Well, okay, so
like terrible green screen.
Well, there's only like one scene that I can think of that looked like janky green screen, and that could have just been like a weird aspect ratio thing with the shot. But like, I don't know. There's been times where we've had janky green screen. We've had too many drone shots, which aren't cheap for them to do. Like there's ways that you could bloat the budget and it not pay off well in the end. You know, there's just
this movie could have been boring.
Could have.
Yeah. All these high octane racing shots, and it just doesn't cut well. It doesn't translate well. It doesn't translate the same as Top Gun. Yeah, there's ways that this could have went poorly for them budget wise.
Was there ever a time in this movie when you thought that Sonny was he wasn't, the movie was going to end with him no longer among the living? Sorry, kind of a weird spoiler in a non-spoiler kind of way, but
not really.
I know. I mean, if Sonny gets into a crash and passes on mid movie, it'd be weird since this is his film.
12 minutes in, he never makes it out of Daytona.
Well, I mean,
it's all dream sequence where he's in a fucking coma.
God. No, I think that Sonny not making it to the end of this movie would be an odd choice.
Travesty, honestly.
Yeah.
I could also see like he wrecked in the last lap of Daytona, and it's all just like a 12-week fever dream. He's been in a coma for that long.
It's all been a dream.
Yeah.
Yep.
He'll never drive again.
I wouldn't be surprised.
His left arm's been amputated.
With
Jesus.
With who wrote the movie, it wouldn't be surprising if that was the route that was taken at times.
It was Kruger, right? Yeah.
Arnold Kruger, yeah. Why wouldn't that have been surprising?
I mean, listen, he has some good ones. He has some bad ones too. Like, I don't think I think that his writing isn't top tier yet. I think he's had some good stuff, but he's also didn't he do Dumbo?
Did he? I don't remember.
Didn't he do Transformers?
He did,
One of
but
the
I don't.
bad ones.
But fine. But like, I think that first Transformers film, 2007, is as good as those kind of movies.
I don't think it's that one he did.
I don't want to talk about Transformers. Because Michael Bay is coming back to Transformers. You guys fucking see that?
Is he really?
Yeah.
Buddy, why would I make that shit up?
Yeah, hold on.
Like, it makes me sad in my heart.
Yeah, hold on.
To know that.
Well,
yeah, I mean, hold on, Kruger.
Because I don't think Bay ever really found an identity outside of Transformers. So I mean, that's just
The Rock would like to speak to you. F1, F1, Top Gun, but we have Dumbo, Brothers Grimm, Ghost in the Shell, Transformers: Age of Extinction, Dark of the Moon. Like, he isn't.
You gotta cut your teeth somewhere.
He's not. He isn't infallible as a writer. I think he's still learning how to do things. And I think the cliches that exist in this movie may be a piece of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's, he's getting there. I don't think that it's, I don't think he's a for sure deal yet.
F1's pretty good overall, though.
I'm not taking this from him. Like it's good.
Do you guys see the real? Do you guys see the bucket?
Oh, nice.
The one I meant to bring this up earlier, but
you think that's the card in his pocket? By the way,
it's got to be right.
It's got to be the seven of spades.
What else? What else do you have to go on that? Like, what else in the movie tells you it's something else besides the seven of spades? That's always in the camera when he's in the car.
I know, right? Yeah,
it has to be the seven of spades.
The other thing, I think about when I would talk about this movie overall is knowing that it could have been so bad and it's really, really not, and then it's so far above bad. And just, I've been hyped up for F1 for like a year when we got that first teaser, this time last year. What was it? Whatever was 4th of July weekend last year. I don't remember exactly what movie it was the first time we saw the F1 trailer. Mm-hmm. And I was like, cool. And then to actually see it come to fruition and to be good and cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fucking cool, man. That's important.
Did this make any of our lists from the last time we did the most anticipated of the summer?
They made Rogers.
This guy.
I think it was my runner-up for after.
Yeah, didn't make mine, but I'm not usually big on the racing movie stuff. So
I'm just happy that it made my list and I liked it.
Yeah,
and that's
that
very, very important.
That's all that matters.
That's it. That's
all that matters. I interrupted. I think you, Chris. Sorry if I interrupted you.
I don't remember what I was saying if you did, so it's fine. What do we got next?
I think we're coming to a natural close up here. Anybody got any last thoughts about this, though? Like, look, my last thing, and I'll say it right now, is go see F1 if you haven't. I bet you'll like it, and I bet you'll think it's cool.
Well, see it in IMAX or at the minimum Dolby.
If you just watch the movie,
if you have the option for IMAX, because I wish I had. I
bet
you
Dolby sound was good too.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it had to have been. I mean, I think final thoughts for me. This movie, while not perfect in my eyes, goddamn, it's a good movie. It's a fun ride, and I mean that both with the pun and without the pun. The movie has such a good last 15 minutes, 10 minutes. I don't know, the whole sequence of the last 3 laps of this race and how things go and how the movie and how the scores hit and how that closes out. Man, what a high in a film.
It's cool.
It's just cool. This is a good one. Go see this movie.
I can't wait to crank that shit up in my surround sound and shake my house.
Oh yeah.
And shake, what are you doing?
Out of bed.
That's an F1 car, by the way.
You need to buy the gaming rig setup that has you in a car, but not play the game. Just watch the movie.
Just watch the movie.
Yeah.
I'm Sonny Hayes.
You have it up so loud that your wife's staring at you, but you don't ever look at her. You keep on the couch looking at the TV.
Yeah.
You don't ever.
Well, he can't. He's busy driving.
That's right. How can I look away? I could crash and die. That's irresponsible.
It's also so loud it shook her out of whatever she was doing. Yeah, that's what you need to do.
Annoyed the neighbors with the F1 movie.
Final thoughts.
How about you, Grayson? Yeah, what do you got?
I was very happy with this movie. It's not. Here's the thing. It's not quite Top Gun Maverick. It's not quite. What was the other racing movie that we love? The Ford v Ferrari. But damn, it's good and it's emotional for me. The The Zimmer score absolutely complements the movie. Brad Pitt is always a tour de force. Kerry Condon brings it. Javier Bardem is awesome. It's just there's so many reasons to go watch this movie in the theater. You really should try to watch every single movie in the theater if you can, but this is one that you really shouldn't miss on the big screen. If you have any plans at all to watch this sucker, you definitely should try to see it in a movie theater where it's meant to be watched. And it's such a I've been watching slowly movies as I've been trying to watch 2 or 3 Netflix movies a week, like the ones that they've just released, and
I have no desire to do that.
They're all like Days of Our Lives episodes compared to like theatrical releases. It's just I don't know how they're still doing things, but this is an example of another one that's like nothing on any of the streaming platforms comes close to this.
You want to talk about Days of Our Lives for a minute?
No.
We can do that.
Was it Paul Walker in that one when he started out?
I don't think so.
One of them. He was in one of them, but anyway.
Bradley Cooper was on
was he?
All My Children. Yeah.
Handsome ass Bradley Cooper. Jeez.
Ooh, Bradley Cooper and Brad Pitt would be good too.
Bradley Cooper's also one of the actors that I still think he's one of the exceptions. Like Chris, what's his name?
Pratt. Yeah,
no.
Chris Pratt, your boy. Let it be known that Grayson said Chris Pratt is one of the dying legends of our time.
Legends of his time. Christopher Pratt.
Hemsworth. Damn it. God, I hope Chris Pratt's not.
You just snub your boy Chris Pine like that too.
So many Chris's. We have a Chris on the show. We have many famous Chris's. One of which we've seen his butthole. So yeah. As Roger
That's weird in context after you named me, but it's fine.
Not what I meant, but we've seen it on the big screen. Chris Pine. Anyway, I think this movie is absolutely worth a watch, and it's.
Oh my god!
I think you should see it in the theater. One problem I did come across, which may not apply to everyone, is there was on the Dolby viewing, there was like the sound cut out, so they rewound it, or they went back in the timeline 6 minutes. And the ending of the film pushed it over the 3-hour mark by 1.5 minutes, which meant my validation on parking was not free. It was $6.
Oh,
so
dang.
That sucks, man. Whenever I see a movie that I know is...
Did you watch the whole credits?
Well, no, but I mean, the backing up of... Because the movie was supposed to start at 9 a.m. yesterday, and I did that, but the actual movie didn't the lights dimmed and Nicole Kidman came on the screen at 9:02, that whole sequence started, but the actual movie, because of all the trailers, didn't start until 9:33 or something. So it just there were so what I'm going to start doing is if I know a movie is 2.5, I'm just if it starts at a certain 12 o'clock noon, I'm gonna try to be in my seat at 12:20. Because I don't want to. You only get a 3-hour
years.
Yeah, but I'm doing it to avoid parking. I love trailers.
I'm doing it because I don't want to be there that long.
That's fair, but I just love
kind
trailers.
Of the same. All right, bring us home, Gray.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. I was hiccuping. Chris giving you the look. I saw that look. Thanks, Chris, for my name. You don't like it. Gray, indeed. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us for episode 36 of Post Credits Podcast, where we are lucky enough to talk about movies. If you listen to this episode on an audio-only service, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Podbean, feel free to head over to YouTube. See us there also. Turn us on while you're doing work in the background. Whatever it is you people do, I don't care. Turn us on in the background. We will make you laugh as we talk about movies.
And other body parts.
Yeah, let's not.
Thank you for joining us every week. We look forward to seeing you for next week for the Jurassic World
Rebirth.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. One last thing I'll say about this, if you guys didn't know, is they're not calling it in some of the advertising. They're not calling it Jurassic World Rebirth. They're just calling it Jurassic World.
Interesting.
Yeah.
God, I hope Chris Pratt's not in this.
I'm going to think that he is, at least in some form. I can't click the button.